Welcome back to another day on the bus build. I have absolutely no clue at this very current moment of filming what we're going to be doing today. I have an idea of what I want to get done, but the first thing that we're actually going to be doing is making a list, walking around the bus, kind of just jotting down like what things we want to do next, what things we want to get done. So let's get a list together and then reconvene on what we're going to be getting done. But I have a feeling it's going to be quite a bit of metal work, a bit more gutting and prepping this thing so that we can start actually thinking about strapping, getting electrical in, and moving to the next stage. So I think the windows are going to get pulled, but let's make that list. Who likes my chicken scratch? A good starting place is maybe pulling these things off, getting the windows ready to pull out, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be resealing and recaulking all the windows. If you probably know, we also opened up a coffee shop apparently, but the idea here is these bus windows are absolutely horrible in terms of leaks and air seals, and I know that if anyone out there is converting or has converted a bus, you'll know the windows stink. So what we're going to be doing is removing them, resealing them, caulking them, making sure that there is no water leaks. And we're also going to be deleting a couple of them in the future for where some closets and walls are going to be going. So we're going to have to get to that. Another thing that we're going to be doing today that we just decided to put on the list is going to be cleaning up the floors. Totally forgot that we got to get kind of all the bolts that didn't come out. We got to grind them down, get the floors nice and smooth. So then we can kind of do our damage assessment of what needs to be done to fix it. And then we can move forward with that. But I think the list is actually kind of growing. The floors, grinding the outside, pulling the windows out. Yeah, that list, it's only got 2 things on it right now. But we're adding to it. We got to get these side guards off because we're going to be spray foaming. We got to fill that all up. So I don't know, we just got to get going on this, get into it. But I got someone I want you guys to meet. Some of you may remember this bus. Oh, look, it's Rita. Rita came to visit. She's been driving around and she decided that she's going to come on up and stop real quick and have somewhere to park for the weekend. She also wanted to see what was going on with the bus. So she stopped by and we're giving her a place to park and she's hanging out. But if you might recognize this one, because this is one of the buses that I worked on back a year ago this week, actually. We were talking last night. So you want to go check out, I'll link that build series. It was like a 3-part series, real quick one.
There's a lot of colors, I don't know where to go. See a lot of colors, only feeling blue.
But I had the opportunity to build this one with Rita and JT from Road Roots Upfitters, and that was a pretty fun build. So I'm glad Rita's here just to hang out and help out on the bus. More people is always more fun with builds because it's all about the people you're with when you're building. There's already so much going on today that I feel like I just have to do a really quick explanation because we just started like 10 minutes ago, but like Rita's killing it, Luke's killing it, I'm grinding the outside, things are just moving along, but I got all the spots grinding on the outside. If anyone's wondering about these rub guards really quick, structural to the bus in terms of holding the bus together. What side guards are made for are children and side impacts. So like if you really look at it, it's like knee, hip and chest kind of like side impacts. So they're structural to the safety of like protecting your children. But in terms of like body of the bus, I took all of them out because I'm not really worried about side impacts in that sense anymore because it's going to be converted to an RV. And then I'm going to re-rivet these into the rib structure so that the sheet metal is strong, but I'm actually going to be welding all these holes shut and then making a really clean flat side because once again, we don't need the rub guards anymore and I'm going for the look of not having them. Another thing that's going on is Rita here is doing an awesome job scraping the floors. We have to get all the wood and bolts and stuff out so then we can once again assess the damage. And then Luke here, we're just so many things. Luke's starting actually to pull windows out, which is absolutely insane. So we're gonna be getting all these windows out and get them resealed and caulked, and then eventually we'll be blocking off the ones that no longer matter. But let's get back to work, get some of these things welded, and probably show a time lapse or something.
There are a lot of voices drowning in the sea. There's too many voices talking back at me. There are a lot of choices waiting to be made. Too many choices making me afraid.
All the windows are almost completely out. Luke is doing a killer job at going one by one, pulling them out and then cleaning the windowsills. But we have 2 left really quick. And since I'm doing another project, Luke really called me over and was like, hey, do you actually want to show how to take these out? And I was like, that's probably a good idea. So we're gonna really quickly show what he's doing and how he's doing it. Not every bus is gonna be exactly the same. For instance, this particular bus, the windows are actually screwed in, so you have to take the screw out, and there's no caulk. It's actually just gasket material. So once you take the screws out, it really comes out pretty easy. Some buses out there, if you have them, they're gonna be caulked around the entire seam and not have any screws at all. So depending on what you got, either way, it's the same solution. Take your time. They're aluminum frames, they will bend, they will break. So if you're planning on reusing them, you definitely don't wanna be too rough on them because you will break them. So take a razor blade, cut the edges, even if you have the gaskets, just to make sure that there's no glue or anything. And then you're gonna wanna slightly start tapping on the window and pushing it in until it actually comes loose. And I'm sure that with Luke's expertise with getting all the other windows out, I'm sure this one will come out pretty quick and pretty easy. You can kind of already see with some pressure, thing pops out, and we're all good to go. So 1 window left, he's gonna get on that one, and then we can start kind of cleaning the windowsills, cleaning the windows, and start thinking about what it's gonna look like when we put them back in.
There's a lot of colors, I don't know where to go. See a lot of colors, only feeling blue. There's a lot of colors, lost within a haze.
So I got a little bit of the bus actually sanded. You can see that it started right here. We got to start sanding the rest. The plan is that we're going to start doing a lot of the exterior prep work. Rita's going to keep sanding. She's awesome, and just volunteer to kind of take that over so that me and Luke can get the interior side panels off. But essentially, we're going to start doing the outside. The plan here is to get the entire outside of the bus done before we spray foam. So we want to have all of our welds in place for our roof racks. We want to have the entire exterior prepped with our lighting and wires are run, so that when we spray foam, we're guaranteeing that we have a waterproof shell. All of our wires are passed through to the exterior, and then it's going to be pretty much just the interior. So pretty much in like 3 weeks real time, this bus is going to look done on the outside, but it's going to be completely empty on the inside. So it's going to be pretty exciting to kind of have like a really nice looking exterior, and then you walk inside and it's just a metal shell waiting to get spray foamed. So we're going to get going on taking these interior side panels off. Luke already started, so let's jump into this next task and get moving. All right, so we got one side of the panel actually out. One thing to notice with this particular school bus is by ripping the panel out, we're actually getting rid of the back lip of the windowsill. So when the windows actually sit in from the outside, they're actually helped and kept in by this top lip right here, and we're removing that by taking this flange out. So when we put the windows back in, whichever windows we are putting back in, we're gonna have to account for that back flange to hold the window in, but then also help with waterproofing so that if any other water does get through the caulk seam, it's not gonna penetrate into the inside of the bus because we have a good sealed window. So we're gonna have to figure out how we wanna replace that in coming videos, and I'm not too sure how we're gonna do that right now. Have to come up with a plan. So I'm hanging out on the side of the bus welding and grinding all of these different holes, and I come around the back, and one of the jobs that we have to do is we have to pull the back bumper off because it's kind of rusted a little bit, and we want to take it off, put it on a bench, sand the whole thing down, rust convert it, and then put it back on, but make sure that it is perfect and rust free. But this is a real like Wizard of Oz type moment. I walk around the back and I just see like 2 sets of legs sticking out, and from what I hear, the bolts are on pretty tight. So we'll see how long it actually takes to get this thing out. What?
Is this your new ratchet?
Yeah, that's a new ratchet. Oh, I guess it was a new ratchet. It's all right. Things break. That's what happens.
Let's loosen up and do it by hand.
Whew. Look at Rita's pants. They have bus blood all over them.
Ready? Then it's not coming out. Navy Junior all over.
It's never gonna come out. That's now your bus pair. Every time you work on a bus, you have to wear those pants.
Deal.
Oh man, look at this thing. So today's goal is literally going to be start at this corner and just go all the way around the bus and start doing the prep work, the Bondo work, and just getting kind of everything put together. So it's gonna be a lot of sanding, a lot of fix welding, a lot of patching, a lot of dent removal, but when we're done, we're hoping that this thing is gonna look super clean and super perfect. So Luke's gonna start getting on sanding, I'm gonna get on some welding, and then we're gonna get this thing going. So let's see what it's gonna look like at the end of the day. We got the entire side of the bus completely done and ready. It is so exciting. So we got like some pretty good gaps and spaces around where we're gonna be bondoing and fixing. And we got the whole side kind of set up. So now what I'm currently doing is I'm taking a little tiny hammer and die, and I'm just tapping in the locations we're gonna be bondoing just so we give a little bit of a divot, just to allow when we do bondo, we can get a nice flat finish at the end. But man, I'm just going down and starting to divot it. It's starting to look good. And Luke is starting to get set up with the Bondo, and he's gonna start kind of going down the side, getting it all prepped with its first coat. And man, I can't wait to put some paint on this thing and just look. I mean, so much work to just get it nice and smooth and make it look nice. And then when you paint it and it's all covered, you're just, I'm ready for that shot. I know Luke is too, because he's actually putting the elbow grease in, and I think he's ready to, well, there you go. That's how hard it is to open a can of Bondo. I actually got that whole thing on camera. Well, Luke's finishing up the last corner of the school bus today. We've got this entire side bondoed and pretty much done, but the problem is we've got a rainstorm coming in. We got like about 80% chance of rain coming in the next like 30 minutes, so we've got to be wrapping this up pretty quick. I just cleaned up most of the tools, so unfortunately I think the rain is gonna delay us here. But good news is we got like one side pretty much 100% done, and I've gotten the entire back side and the other side prepped and ready for Bondo and sanding. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, the truth and the reality of Bondo and sanding like this is it's gonna end up being like 2 or 3 days. That's just what it is. I mean, to really prep it and do it right, but it's just time. So this isn't really costing any money. So anyone out there who's looking to do this type of thing, it's simply just time. So we're just kind of enjoying the day and taking care of that. But yeah, Bondo's done, rain's coming. Gotta wait till the rain stops, then we're getting back at it.
There's a lot of colors I don't know where to go. See a lot of colors, only feeling blue. There's a lot of colors lost within a haze.